Welcome into the Thursday edition of Mile High Hockey. He's Mike Evans. I'm Will Peterson. Mike, it's safe to say the Avalanche are rolling. Winners of 3 in a row. That 0-4 start. Let's just hope it's a footnote on what becomes a long journey.
Well, first of all, let's thank the schedule maker,
yes.
right? Because the schedule maker helped the Avalanche out. You get Anaheim, you get San Jose, and you get Seattle. And I know it. The Kraken, they were 4-2, but come on. This is a team that, before the season began, was not expected to make a playoff push. No less an authority than Mark Messier, after the game the other day, was saying, well, the Avs have certainly benefited from the schedule, and he referenced Seattle. But do not apologize for who the schedule maker put in front of you. It was important that they get some wins. It was important that they start to build a little confidence. And, yeah, I think we can all kind of exhale a little bit with the Avs winning these 3 in a row.
Well, and I think, too, that, you can't apologize for the schedule, and you and I had fun with, you also got Columbus at home, and you lost to them. So any given night, but it's a lot happier tone than it was a week ago when you and I were doing this show, and they were 0-4. They're now 3-4. And the biggest story is goaltending, as it seems to be with this team all the time. Justus Annunen gets his second start in a row against the Kraken. Sounds like Jared Bednar wants to ride the hot hand with Juice in Utah tonight. Mike, is it a controversy? Is it just a hot hand type thing? I don't think we can make grand declarations in October about who their goalie's going to be in game 1 of the playoffs.
No, I still think that the Avalanche view Georgiev as their number one. However, I think they're open to the idea of Annunen just going out and taking the job. So if Annunen, and you got to ride with him, you have to.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about this earlier in the year, the idea that, do you run the risk of losing Georgiev mentally if you bench him for too long? But at some point, you got to weigh that against what's best for my team. Because no matter how much you may feel talking to Joe Sakic, talking to Chris McFarland, hey, we got to make sure that we don't bury Georgiev too much, you still got to answer to those men in the room.
Correct.
And if you're trotting out somebody between the pipes who those players don't feel like gives them the best chance to win, then you're doing a disservice to your hockey team. So the best thing and the most important thing that you have to do for your hockey team is ride the hot guy between the pipes, and that's Justus Annunen.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think, too, it's exhausting trying to win games 6-5 all the time, right? Like, I think that weighs on Nathan MacKinnon and Mikko Rantanen and Cale Makar. And you beat San Jose 4-1. You're up on Seattle 3-1 with 3 seconds left in the game. I mean, good luck scoring from center ice with a faceoff with 3 seconds left. Final was 3-2. MacKinnon actually had an empty net goal where Mikko Rantanen, just asleep at the wheel, just dances into the zone, and McKinnon's empty netter gets taken off the board. But I think the point is here, it's nice for those guys to go, wow, we only gave up 3 goals in 2 games, and really only 2 goals in 2 games. A lot less pressure when you can score 3 goals and win versus feeling like you need 6 to win.
The other thing, too, Will, is that we're seeing enough of a sample size from both these goalies. If you just look at the numbers, never mind the eye test, just look at the numbers. Georgiev's played in 5 games. Annunen's played in 4 games. The goals against is like 4.99 for Georgiev. It's like a little bit over 2 for Justus. You look at the save percentage, it's 81% for Georgiev. It's 90 for Justus Annunen. So you just start looking at the numbers, and it suggests that, hey, we're seeing enough of a sample size that you got to ride Annunen for a while. Give him every opportunity. You're not going to anoint him, the guy, but you're certainly not going to take away the opportunity for him to go out and grab this thing.
Well, and I think another fair point here is Annunen came in the Vegas game, came in the Columbus game, and didn't look great. I think it's a lot easier to come in and look good when you know you're the guy and not coming in cold. And I think it was important for him to finally get a couple of starts. I think people made some grand declarations after Vegas and Columbus, like, well, this guy's not any good either. It's a lot different coming into a hockey game in the third period or the second period than it is getting to lead the team out on the ice. And honestly, I think Bednar probably felt like we need to give this guy a chance to start as opposed to, hey, we're down 5-2, come in and save the day kind of thing.
Let's kind of talk about the theme of this team right now through the early part of the season. There's such a feeling of incomplete right now around this team that we can't really truly evaluate who they are because of injuries and guys that aren't in the lineup. Like, take, for example, the other night. They had 8 guys, almost a third of their game day roster were guys that weren't on the team a year ago. Now, that's not good, but I choose to look at the optimist side of it, is that you're getting a chance to see a lot of guys in a lot of different roles, with the idea that maybe you're discovering some things, maybe you're building some depth that you didn't think you were going to be capable of building this season.
Joel Kiviranta getting you 2 goals.
Exactly. And so now you're getting guys who are being given a chance because of injuries and guys who aren't in the lineup yet. And you know what? Maybe unintended consequences, good ones, here in that you're building some roster organizational depth that you didn't think maybe you knew about before the season began.
Yeah, no, it could be a blessing in disguise type deal. Let's talk about petty Seattle fans, Mike. Petty Seattle fans still booing Cale Makar. 18 months. Okay, so I went back and rewatched the hit just to refresh everyone's memory. First of all, the hit came before a whistle was blowing. And second of all, Cale Makar did not know where the puck was on the ice. He didn't know it had hit the netting. He's trying to make a hockey play. We've both interacted with Cale, one of the nicest guys. No dirty intentions there at all. And Seattle fans still booing him 18 months later in a series where they broke Andrew Cogliano's neck. Did that bother you as much as it bothered me the other night?
I just laugh at it now. And honestly, I laugh at it only because if it was a hockey fan base that I respected, then I'd be like, all right, maybe there's something there.
Yeah.
But this is hockey Hooterville. This is Seattle. They don't have a history. Their fans are still learning the game. And so I kind of condescendingly pat him on the head and say, you're so cute.
Yeah.
Look at you carrying your 18th month grudge against Cale Makar. I laugh at him more than I take it seriously.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to look at it. And again, it's not like it's, Nazem Kadri who had a history. Right. It's Cale. Come on. It's Cale. The Avs will play the Utah Hockey Club tonight, Mike. Still getting used to that one, no doubt about it. The hockey club, it's kind of like the football team when Washington was the football team, actually off to a decent start. It's the old Arizona Coyotes team now playing in Utah. But man, I do think there'd be something symbolic about getting a 4th straight win tonight, getting back to 500.
And I'd like to just sort of see if there's something there with these two teams. Can we establish a clear-cut Avalanche rival? I bet you I could walk up to any 10 of you right now watching this, ask all 10 of you separately, who's the Avs rival? And I bet you I would get 4 different answers maybe.
Yeah.
4 different teams that would get brought up?
I mean, I think Minnesota's in that conversation. I think there's a lot of people that would still dip into the Detroit Red Wings well. I think
Vegas.
Seattle, Vegas. Dallas. So we just named 5.
There you go. So what I'm saying is that I'm still looking for that real clear-cut rival for the Avs. And maybe, just maybe, it could be Utah. It was never going to be Arizona. So, hey, welcome Utah.
Well, and there's some chatter, too, that when they get an official mascot next year, it will be one that sort of has Colorado ties. We've heard the Yeti, we've heard the Mammoth, we've heard the Outlaws, all those Colorado ties. I think if they go with the Blizzard, that would be the safest to not tick off the state of Colorado.
If they take anything that has a Colorado connection, well, let's just say I'm going to look at you, Utah, as I look at Seattle. And do you really want that 18 months later?
And do you have Salt Lake City on the bucket list to go see a hockey game?
Yes.
Because I do too.
Working a ski trip around it? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
absolutely.
But, like, a third of the arena, the seats are an obstructed view, Mike. There's people tweeting out, I spent $300 on these tickets and I can't see a third of the ice.
Well, I grew up going to Fenway Park and the old Boston Garden.
Okay.
Trust me, I have a lot of experience sitting in obstructed view seats. I once sat in a seat at the Boston Garden. Yeah. No joke. I sat in a seat in the Boston Garden where I could see a third of the floor.
Wow.
That's it.
How much
in order to see the whole floor, I had to go down like this.
Right.
Watch the game. Okay? I paid for that seat.
How much was the ticket?
I don't remember, but it was they still charge for the seat.
Full price.
And I saw a third of the court. I'm not joking.
Oh, man. Well, the hockey club, the Avs, tonight. Be nice to come home. Little 3-game homestand coming up. Be nice to come home at 500. Appreciate you tuning in to Mile High Hockey. For Mike Evans, I'm Will Peterson. We will catch you next Tuesday.